kitty. Kitties. Kitty, 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 kitty.
Thanks for giving me the nice one.
Yeah. The nice one. He liked you. Oh. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be doing the Choose Your Year tag.
Yes, we are.
We were tagged by Amanda Center.
We were, which blows my mind.
We were watching Amanda Center before we started, and that was actually the first booktube video you ever watched was Amanda Center when I said, hey, I want to read
The Night Circus.
Yes, and so I sent her review.
We watched it at book club, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
These are my kitties. He kind of blends in with my shirt.
He does. This is Milo.
This is Leo. And they were rescued out of a dumpster. But
They smell good. Did you wash them?
no.
Oh. So they have dumpster juice on them?
Well, I mean, a different lady found them out of a dumpster, and then I took them.
Okay.
So.
Maybe she washed them.
Okay. Anyway, we woke them up, so they're probably
Sorry.
gonna be a little
They slept a
antsy.
long time.
They sleep all the time.
They're babies.
I mean, yeah.
And we were like, I felt really bad, but Christeena was like, let's wake him up. So I agreed.
See, look, he's done. He's over it.
Okay, bye. Mine's gonna sit in my lap. No, he's not.
Okay, so anyway, Amanda Center tagged us in this. Thank you, Amanda. It was originally created by
Mel's Bookend Adventures.
Good job.
I had
Good
to
job.
peek.
I was gonna do that, so we will leave all these links below. Go check them out.
Yeah, totes. I'm Jessica.
I'm Christeena.
And you're watching
Game of Tomes. We should have held the cats for that one.
Oh.
Meow, meow, meow. Question 1.
Yes.
Choose a year and say why.
Yes.
Is that what you're going to say?
1968.
Yep.
We chose.
Because it's a cool year.
It is a really cool year, we found out. We talked about doing our birth year, but
Yeah.
we've looked at our birth year before actually for like a challenge.
Yeah.
And we did not like that year.
No.
It was not a good year for books.
No.
1991.
No.
So we ended up saying, I said, why don't we do our parents' birth years?
Yeah.
And your parents were born in
64.
and my mom was born in 71. And we
Just went in the middle.
Yeah.
That was 1968.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be a pretty cool year.
It was.
Yeah.
Is.
We learned
It was.
things doing this tag, actually.
We did. I feel smarter for having done it.
I do too. And there was a lot of things that we were like, didn't know that.
Yeah. So, good times.
Yeah.
All right. What's number 2? Number 2. Which books published in that year have you read or, if none, heard of? One of my favorite books was from this year, and that's True Grit by Charles Portis.
I have heard of it. I haven't read it. I was going to read it for a Read Harder challenge, and then I didn't.
You should still.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
good. There's this, like, badass young girl who wants revenge for her uncle's death or something like that, and then she teams up with a bounty hunter to go find him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they go on this little adventure together and learn about each other, and it's really sweet, and yeah, it's one of my favorite books.
Cool.
It's Western.
Cool.
Western.
We picked a couple other books that we've heard of.
Oh, okay, so The Foot Book by Dr. Seuss I've definitely read.
I don't actually know if I've read that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I read a lot of Dr. Seuss books. That was just my
There
thing.
was the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test.
By Tom Wolfe.
Heard of that one. That one has been on my Goodreads to read for like years now, but I've kind of lost. I'd still read it, but it's not at the top of my
priority.
list. Yeah.
And that's a nonfiction book that chronicles acid tripping adventures with.
To like have one communal trip and
Right.
just, yeah.
They put acid in some Kool-Aid and
Yeah, and they meet famous authors and just different
including
people.
Ken Kesey, who wrote
Yeah.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which
Yeah.
is when we talked about wanting to read this book.
That's right. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
And what else? Oh, The Iron Man by Ted Hughes, which was made into the animated movie The Iron Giant, which we love.
Yeah,
So,
1999 is when that came out. All right, number 3. Are there any books published in that year that sound interesting and you would read them now?
Yes, we have a list.
Okay, so the 5th book in the Chronicles of Pryden came out. It's called The High King by Lloyd Alexander. The first book is called The Book of the Three.
So we went on Goodreads and looked it up, and we decided from that book, we didn't read the synopsis of the 5th one.
Right.
But from the first book, we were like, yeah, we'd read that.
It's so weird.
It's so weird.
There's it's a fantasy novel. There's a boy called Taryn, which is my brother-in-law's name, and it's spelled the same way, which is an unusual spelling, so I was kind of excited about that. And he's unexcited about being a pig farmer.
Yeah, like he wants to be a hero, and...
Even though he has, an oracle pig.
Yeah, and then pig goes missing. And then he has to, go find the pig, or I don't know, he goes on this adventure kind of thing.
It was so random, and we had a good laugh about it.
An oracle pig is involved, and we were like, yep, we would read that. And there's at least 5 books in the series.
It was probably the original Wilbur, so I like it. Okay, so another book that sounded good to us was Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. McCaffrey. It's alright.
McCaffrey.
It's a weird name, okay?
It is.
Anne
McCaffrey. Yeah. So there's this girl, and she's a kitchen girl and kind of a servant. Her father has been betrayed, lost to lands, and then...
Does she have a dragon for a pet? And then there's this acid rain that comes down, or it destroys everything, and somehow the dragons in the land are able to destroy the...
Yeah, so the dragon riders used to be a big thing, but now they're not anymore, and so there's only a few of them left, but they protected the world from thread, which is acid rain kind of, or whatever, that can destroy things. So
I wonder how the dragons protect them from
weather.
I don't
know.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't know. But she's gonna save the world and protect everyone. So we're a classic fantasy, Yes. And we were like, we love fantasy.
We do.
Yeah.
That's our thing. Number 4, the most obscure sounding book. Yo, we spent forever.
We had so much trouble with this one.
So we went with The History of Mathematics by Carl B. Boyer, which we think is actually a textbook.
I don't know. It had 800.
But he starts out in Mesopotamia and how they started counting and everything, and then
they go through the history of mathematics and mathematical discoveries,
which sounds pretty cool.
So I mean,
if you're into math,
I used to be once upon a time.
Yes.
But reading that synopsis of that book and the reviews, I was like, ugh. Somebody was putting math equations in their review and was like, the Babylonians and P greater than Q, and I was like, ugh. We closed it. We're like, we're going with that. So it only had 831 reviews or something like that. But that also means there's 800 people in the world out there who have read this book and reviewed it.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
1968.
Yep. Mathematics, man. Oh, man, that's only the history of mathematics up until 1968.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what it would be like now.
I wonder if there's some new math stuff.
Well, they said there was multiple editions of it, a second and a third. So I'm assuming maybe they keep revising it.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Or care.
No, not really. So there's your obscure book.
Okay, strangest book cover. Ooh,
yeah, this is the last question, and this one was fun.
This was a fun sounding book.
Yeah, and I legit really do want to read this.
I do too.
So we went with Chalky. Which, okay, we almost said this one for the obscure one, but then we looked it up and there was a TV show.
There was in the 80s.
And so we're like, oh, this isn't that obscure then.
Right.
We can't say that.
But the book cover is really cool.
Super cool.
A really artistic.
Insert here.
Uh-huh.
So this is basically about this boy who says it's fiction, first of all.
Right.
And it's about this boy who says that he has voices in his head or whatever.
Yeah, well, he starts talking to himself and his parents are concerned. And then as he gets older, the conversations become fluid. They're listening in on one side of the conversation, and so then he tells them about Chalky.
Yeah, and he starts speaking in binary.
Right.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he has Chalky in his head.
I bet the TV show is terrible.
It was okay. The TV shows was made in 1984. I kind of want to look at.
I do too.
Preview or an episode. We should look that up.
A trailer. It might make us not want to read it.
I'm down for it.
When
though.
I wanted to read Dune, I watched the trailer for the movie and I was like, oh.
Well, I mean, the book was written in 1968.
Yeah.
The TV show was like 1984, I think it said.
Something like that.
So my hopes aren't very high, but
No.
it sounds interesting though.
Yeah.
And apparently one of the reviews on Goodreads had said that the book isn't really scary. It's just, more of a look at mental health, I guess.
Yeah, so it's like, is it schizophrenia? Is it paranormal?
Yeah.
And it's classified under science fiction, so...
Yeah, which I thought was weird.
So if it's about schizophrenia, it might be like there might be something paranormal in there.
I don't know.
But it seems like it'd be called paranormal. Well, sci-fi... Paranormal is like a subsection of sci-fi, right? I think so.
Don't ask me.
Okay.
I don't know genres.
Alright. That's the one book out of this whole thing that we found that's like...
We were
might
mostly
actually read
excited about that.
about chalky.
Yeah.
Which is so weird to say.
Chalky.
It does sound like something a kid would make up.
CHOCKY or whatever.
Right.
Well, obviously, I'll
It's not.
insert the
Okay.
right here somewhere.
Yeah. All right, so we have one bonus book.
Yeah, we came across this on a Goodreads list
Yeah.
and was like, whoa, this is where most of our knowledge of this year came from.
Was the
today.
synopsis of
The
1968.
synopsis.
19...
We didn't read the book, we just read the synopsis and learned a lot.
Okay, it's called 1968, The Year That Rocked the World by Mark Kurlansky.
Yeah.
Published in 2005.
Yeah, so Cheska said, why did it rock the world? So we clicked on it, and man, it really did. Martin Luther King Jr. and Bobby Kennedy were both assassinated that year. There was,
and they talked about how media was really starting to bring people together
which
and
totally
protest.
makes sense. Yeah. A lot of uprisings, and then, like, avant-garde theater. Am I saying that right?
Sort of. You kind of... what else? Okay.
There's a couple things I didn't understand in there.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, yeah, there was some things that I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
Let's look it up.
To some, 1968 was the year of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It was also the year of Martin Luther King Jr. and Bobby Kennedy assassinations, riots at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Prague Spring, which we didn't know what Prague Spring was.
We should look that up.
The anti-war movement, and the Tet Offensive, which I didn't know what that was either.
No.
Black Power, the Generation Gap, avant-garde theater.
I think so.
The upsurge of the women's movement and the beginning of the end for the Soviet Union. So we thought that was like really cool.
Yeah.
Prague Spring was a period of political liberalization and mass protests in Czechoslovakia as a communist state after World War II.
January to August 1968.
When the Soviet Union and other members of the Warsaw Pact invaded the country to suppress the reforms. Okay. Wow. That's such a beautiful name for a terrible thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Prague Spring sounds like something like you'd want to go to.
Tet Offensive.
Oh,
What is
yeah,
that?
good job. I forgot about that. Oh, more war stuff.
It was a series of surprise attacks by the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese forces on scores of cities, towns, and hamlets throughout South Vietnam. It was considered to be a turning point in the Vietnam War.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of war back then. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm being serious.
Okay.
We are so smart. We just Googled major things and we didn't even know what it was.
Well, you know.
The more you know.
Yes. We've learned. I hope you've learned something as well. Thank you so much for watching When You Play the Game of Tomes.
You read or you die.
Come be our friends. Social media links in the description below.
And we hope you're reading a great book.
Bye.
Bye. Do we sound dumb?
Yeah.
Lost, what felt like it all in a game. Every man I've measured out to hurt me before I could ever feel safe. Lost, what felt like it all in a game. Every man I've measured out to hurt me before I could ever feel